The brand new small miner from Drake Interplanetary has just been dropped onto the PTU for Alpha 4.1, so here I am putting together a quick video covering what we know so far. We also got a preview of the ATLS Geo, which I'll be talking about briefly at the end of the video. We should learn more about these on Thursday through the episode of aUEC, and I'll put together a more comprehensive review of these ships once they drop to life. Hello folks, Space Tech here, and I will say, this ship is giving me all of the excitement and hype that I got way back with the arrival of the Drake Vulture and the Cutter. Finally, we have a competitor to the Prospector, and unlike the Vulture and Fortune, the Golem fits a completely different niche. Starting off with a quick tour of the exterior, we have a design that has all of the details and greebles of a Drake ship with exposed pipes and machinery. Other than that, however, the ship really reminds me of the styling of the Argo MCU-V with the cargo pods detaching down from the center of the ship. That's not even mentioning its incredibly small size. It also has a cockpit very similar to the Argo Mole and also the Vulture. We have a fuel port along the left side, as well as a weapon rack for a long arm. We have two VTOL engines that remind me of the ones on the Cutter due to their small size relative to the rest of the ship. Component access on this ship is very limited, considering you have to detach and remove the ore pods, something you may not always be able to do given your current situation. We have components on each of the rear legs, as well as an engineering panel on the back of the cockpit. Other than that, we have room for two small tools or weapons like a tractor beam or a sidearm along the right side. Stepping into the cockpit, we know immediately that this is a Drake ship with a door/canopy in the same style of the Mule. The visibility is good, but not really comparable to the Prospector's bubble cockpit, which is one of the greatest in terms of its ability to locate rocks in space. I do think this will be more than enough to do your job, however. And that brings us to the mining capabilities of the Golem. The mining head on this ship is attached to an absolutely enormous arm. It is interesting to note as well that the mining head on the Golem is completely bespoke to this ship and this ship only. That does mean that you're not going to be able to swap it out with ones like you can on the Prospector, and that is going to reduce your overall capability and flexibility. The bespoke mining head is technically a size 2, which is a size bigger than the Prospector, but we're going to have to wait for all the mining changes coming to 4.1 to truly evaluate how good it is and how flexible it can be. We do know, however, that it holds 2 modules. That's the same or more than the ones that are available to the Prospector mining heads. It shares the same total ore capacity as well, at 32 SCU spread across 2 underslung 16 SCU Drake ore pods. As for its other components, you get the same kind of combat prowess you'd expect if you're familiar with the ships of this size and class. You get 2 size 1 repeaters, the same as the Prospector, and 2 size 1 missiles compared to none on the Prospector. Obviously, none of this really matters since you won't be killing anything in this ship anyway. No, instead what is far more important is its shielding and defense. Unfortunately for the Golem, you only get 1 size 1 shield compared to the 3 on the Prospector. This would genuinely create a big difference in the likelihood of you surviving an attack. You do get the standard size 2 cooler and size 1 power plant, quantum drive, and jump module on the Golem. Speaking of quantum drive, you get a total of 0.95 SCU of quantum fuel. That's just about half of what's available on the Prospector, and that answers the question of what role the Golem would play compared to that Prospector. A great Twitch streamer, Loken Plays, compared the size of the Golem against the Prospector, and the difference is staggering. Looking at its diminutive size, we know that this ship will comfortably fit into ships like the C2. He did also manage to get it into a Carrack if the landing gear wasn't deployed. I'm going to be putting a link to his channel in the description below, so please go check him out when you get the time. From that difference, I think it's clear that where this is really going to shine is in mobile mining fleets. Unlike the Prospector, you're going to be able to carry a large amount of these Golems in ships like the Polaris and the C2. The limited quantum fuel capacity of the Golem then becomes a complete non-issue. In fact, you gain a lot of utility by being able to bring, let's say, 4 Golems in your Polaris and have all the mining capability that 4 Prospectors would have brought instead. Yes, that does mean that this ship will largely excel in group play situations, but Star Citizen has been clear about wanting to prioritize group play whenever possible. I do think that this ship is actually going to be the undisputed winner for mining swarms specifically. They're going to give you the ability to cover a lot more ground and crack multiple rocks a lot quicker than you could have if you brought half the number of Prospectors. You'll also be able to carry spare mining bags to reduce the full ones and stay out in the field longer. You can do this with Prospectors too, but the smaller ore bags on the Prospector means you're going to be replacing twice the total number of bags. Finally, the increase in numbers also makes it easier for pairs of Golems to go out and mine larger rocks together. So that's where this ship is going to excel. I think the solo miner will almost definitely still prefer the Prospector for its interiors, shielding, and fuel capacity, but the Golem just became the premier snub miner for large and capital ships. I just can't wait to get my hands on it. As for the ATLS Geo, I've not gotten to use it myself yet, but it looks to be a competitor for the Rock. This variant of the Atlas Titan suit carries a small backpack to store gems, and most impressively also has a jetpack of sorts. This gives it some incredible mobility, being able to make enormous leaps across the ground. People are going to absolutely love the jetpacks, but I do worry that, as with all ground gameplay, this exosuit just won't see the usage that it deserves. That being said, 4.1 is bringing huge changes to mining with a variety of new minables being introduced that will be exclusive to FPS, ground, and ship mining. This will really set the stage for the Geo and the Golem. I'm really hoping that they balance FPS and ground gems to get to a point where even experienced miners will choose to go ground mining or hand mining instead of only mining out of their ships. Of course, some people believe that FPS, ground, then ship mining are stepping stones, and I understand wanting a sense of progression as you go through the gameplay loops as well. Which of these two camps do you find yourself falling into? And how are you feeling about the Drake Golem and ATLS Geo? Are you excited to put both of them on your Arastra? Or are they tempting you to get started with the mining loop altogether? I'll be putting out a deep dive review of these ships very shortly, so please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.